I can really appreciate what Fuji has done with the XH2S. They just said, screw it. You know what? We're going to throw everything we possibly can into one camera. They're like, people have been griping about the autofocus. We're going to improve the autofocus. And we're going to give them every freaking codec and bit rate and video codec that they can possibly want, and put it in there. And if they don't like what you can get in the camera, you can get it by using a recorder. There's like, we're going to give them everything. We're going to give them F-Log, and then we're going to come out with something with new called F-Log 2. Photo side, hey, you know what? We're going to give them 40 frames per second shooting capability. Wow. We're going to have all the film simulations, and then come out with a new one that's awesome. So they just threw everything they could into the XH2S. And that's great. And then they said, you know what? If you don't like this camera, we're coming out with another camera, and it's going to be a better photo camera than the XH2S. It's going to have 40 megapixels, blah, 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 all this other stuff. And if you don't like that camera, if you still want your buttons and dials, we're going to slip over here and make the XT5 and give you everything that this camera has, pretty much, and put it in the XT5 and give you back your buttons and dials. They're like, hey, here's 3 cameras. They're all upgraded over what we currently have. Pick which one you like the best. There you go. You know what? I would almost guarantee you they're not going to hamstring any of these 3 cameras in the next 2 or 3 years. Some companies, they come out with a flagship camera and then 6 months later introduce a $600 camera and don't put the features that's in the $600 camera into the flagship camera. I don't think Fuji's going to be doing that. They won't hamstring their cameras. So you can always depend on, if they come out with something new, they're just going to go into your flagship. Unlike some other companies that remain nameless. But having said all that, I'm about 90% I'm going to send the Fuji XH2 back. So you might ask yourself, why I would be sending this camera back? Well, it doesn't have anything to do with the autofocus. The autofocus, while it's not Sony level, it might be like 2 or 3 steps behind Sony. The colors are great, the battery life is great, the back screen is great, the viewfinder is great, everything about the camera is great. But when you pick up the camera and start using it, you realize that you're not really saving any weight at all. And I know why they had to do it, because of heat. There's no doubt about that. 120 frames per second, 4K, that's going to produce a lot of heat. They need a bigger camera to do that. I understand that. But, if you're going to go with the APS-C camera, you want kind of a smaller overall package. And with the XH2S, you're not really saving on any weight. In my opinion, you're not saving any weight with the camera. You might be saving a little bit with the lenses. You can kind of go down, this lens versus that lens and equivalencies and all this and that. But you can get small lenses for something like the Sony. You can get small lenses for something like the Fuji. I don't know. For the most part, they're all about the same. They all cost about the same, more or less. Yes, you can, mix and match a little bit and come up with different things, but let's just say that they're all about the same weight, same expense. So basically what you have is a camera that's, you don't save in any weight, you don't save in any size, you don't save in any expense. So for that reason, I think I'd choose the full frame over the XH2S. To me, full frame just lends itself to shooting in more, a variety of conditions. Like, I never know what I'm going to be shooting from day to day. I might go out and shoot low light, good light. I might be shooting sports 1 second. I might be shooting portraits the next, doing video, so on and so forth. And for that reason, I just think full frame, even though, like something like the A7 IV, it might not match all the specs of the XH2S. You get into something with low light or bad light, and you're going to appreciate the full frame sensor in that camera. or any full frame camera for that matter. So for those reasons, I'm about 65% sure that I'm going to send the XH2S back. But it is a great camera. So, you know, if you bought one, you love it, I can definitely understand why. And if you want to give out a full frame and go to the crop sensor camera, the XH2S, I can definitely understand why. It is a really, really good camera, and it definitely matches up with, you know, it punches above its weight. Like, people are always comparing it to the A7 IV and the R6, and no, this camera should be compared against the A1, those type of cameras. I mean, it does everything. And it's a great camera, and it's a decent value when you start comparing it against those other cameras, you know. But for me, I'm just a low level dude, you know. I don't see the benefits of all those extra specs, you know, compared to what I have. So I'm about 25% sure that I'm going to send it back. So anyway, we'll see. We might do a little bit more testing on it here in the future. Before I had to send it back. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.